When local growers put great food on Tennessee tables, that's living green. Tonight on Live Green Tennessee, we travel to Knoxville's Blooming Earth Flowers, where the flowers are sustainably grown and lovingly arranged. We see eagle tours at Realfoot State Park, boosting the local economy as they heighten environmental awareness, and we visit Latamer High Adventure Reservation to see how they undertook a scheme to reclaim an abandoned 80-year-old bridge. All this and more on Live Green Tennessee, coming up next.
This program is brought to you in part by...
Behind every Pick Tennessee Products logo is a Tennessee farmer who brings you fresh, local food grown with the kind of pride that gets handed down through generations. From now through fall, you can find Tennessee fruits and vegetables on farms and at farmers markets near you. Find your Tennessee farmers at picktnproducts.org.
Hi, I'm Kelly Swallows, the race director for WCTE TV's Live Green Tennessee 5K race. It will begin and end right here in Cookeville, Tennessee at Dogwood Park. The race is on Saturday, June 23rd, starting at 7:30 a.m. Whether you're a competitive jogger, walker, or want to bring the whole family and your strollers, come one, come all. We invite you to join us to support the Live Green initiative and supporting local agriculture. We'll see you there.
Funding for this program was provided in part by the United States Department of Agriculture. Connecting the grower to the buyer, the country to the city, and smart shopping with a healthy lifestyle. It's Live Green Tennessee.
Hello, I'm Melinda Kiefer, and I'm proud to bring you stories from across our great state on Live Green Tennessee. It's been said that bread feeds the body, but flowers feed the soul. Downtown Knoxville's Blooming Earth Flowers is a fully functional florist which is working to bring organically grown flowers from the outlying areas to downtown Knoxville. Blooming Earth offers everything from wedding arrangements to classes for professionals and amateurs alike, and are supplied entirely by a sustainable, local, organic flower farm. In this story, brought to us by East Tennessee Public Television's Chris Smith, we find a flourishing business which brings beauty to the urban landscape.
Blooming Earth Flowers is a sustainable local florist that services weddings, events, the local co-op, and we source from local farmers. Blooming Earth Flowers started when I had moved back to my family's farm to take care of my grandmother, and while I was here I thought I would grow some flowers and some vegetables and go to the farmer's market and sell and make a little money doing that. Coming back to the farm was wonderful, and for what I do, I have an art background, and I also love to grow things. You know, I always got a section of the garden when I was a kid to grow my cherry tomatoes or whatever I wanted. And so being able to combine those has been a real joy, to be able to grow things and then to be able to make beautiful art pieces out of them. It makes me really happy. The typical life of a flower, if you walk into a grocery store and buy a bouquet of flowers in a plastic sleeve, those flowers are usually grown in rows. They use lots of pesticides, lots of fungicides, and lots of herbicides on all of those. Then they are shipped from overseas, usually Europe, Africa, and South America. And the amount of refrigeration and fuel it takes to get them to the grocery store is phenomenal. So we are different in that everything comes from no more than 150 miles from here. And most of the times it's less than 50 miles. Typically there's no herbicides, there's no pesticides, and there's no fungicide, definitely, on the flowers. A lot of people don't realize that you could source all of the flowers for your wedding or a party or event right from East Tennessee. There's tons and tons of flowers, and they're all very seasonal around here. You got all the spring flowers, which are daffodils, peonies, tulips, iris, quince, and then lots of different wildflowers start blooming then as well. We've got daisies coming up and all that good stuff. And then there's the summer flowers, which is several farmers around here. Typically, if you go to a farmer's market, you're going to find lots of sunflowers, and they do really well in East Tennessee. But you'll find zinnias and calla lilies and gladiolas and carnations and roses and poppies, and there's so many flowers that grow here. It's wonderful. So when I went to the farmer's market, I usually sold out by 12 o'clock, and people really loved the style and the vases that I would use, and that they were local and certified naturally grown. And as I was doing that, I would get more and more requests for weddings. When somebody has a wedding and they want to use us as their florist, they'll come in and we do a big long interview of when the wedding is and everything that they want, from all their personal flowers to the ceremony to the reception. And then we base when the wedding is, and I start calling all my farmers and saying, okay, what do you have? And if it's far enough in advance, say we've got 6 months to plan ahead, they can actually plant all of the flowers ahead of time and try to shoot for the date. I have a flower CSA, which stands for Community Supported Agriculture. And most of the time it comes in the form of food. You get a box of food every week, and you pay at the beginning of the season, and then you come and pick up your box of food every week. Well, with me, there isn't food, but you do get a flower arrangement, and you get the option of getting just a bunch of flowers that you can arrange yourself, or an arrangement that I do for you. When I first started 2 years ago, I had 1 member, and then last year we grew to 20 members, and this year we're forming a cooperative of farmers, so we have quite a range of flowers that can be had. The great thing about the CSA is it lasts for a few months, and you can have it delivered to your office. A lot of green businesses like that for your front desk or for your home, and it's just fun. And a lot of people with the food, it becomes too much. You gotta give half your eggplant to somebody or whatever. But with flowers, they're just pretty, and you can put them in every room in your house, so. Or you can give them away too. I had people do that. As far as the local movement for food and agriculture is concerned, I have seen with my business an exponential growth. From the first year to last year, I had 125% growth in the bottom line of the business, which is awesome. And as far as just the movement in general, I grew up in Knoxville, and there was a farmer's market when I was little. I think East Tennessee has always been a little bit local. There's a lot of people that appreciate growing their own tomatoes. But I think there's a lot more education about the way we're living that is helping it become bigger and broader, and I see it growing a lot.
The bald eagle, the symbol of our nation, is alive and well in West Tennessee. Few people realize our state's role in nurturing the bald eagle. In the peak season, you may be able to view up to 200 of these majestic birds. In 1974, Realfoot Lake began an eagle tour, which is led by park rangers. These eagle tours boost the local economy as well as environmental awareness. WLJT's Emily Osmond tells us of the details of this 280-acre state park located near Tiptonville, which holds this national treasure.
Realfoot Lake State Park started offering tours to see bald eagles and waterfowl in the early 1970s. And at that time, the eagle was very rare. It's still on the endangered species list. And this was one of the best places in the southeastern part of the United States to see bald eagles because of the habitat, the food supply, the great natural area here at the lake. So Earth Day started in the early 70s, and a lot of environmental awareness, and the park staff here at the time wanted to offer some activities for people to come and see and learn about the resource. So they started eagle tours, and they have grown from there, and we've offered eagle tours every year, every winter since the early 70s, taken out thousands of people, literally thousands of people a winter from all over the world. We don't just have people from the United States and from Tennessee and the surrounding states, but if you look at our visitor center logs, we have literally had people from every state, from dozens of other countries to come here, and a lot of them come here, especially in the winter, just to see our national symbol, the bald eagle. The tours have a huge economic impact, not only for the park, but for the community, for the area. The bald eagle is a bird of the water. They live along the coast, large rivers, large lakes, and their primary diet is fish and things found around the water, even though they will eat anything. But the bald eagle is primarily a fisherman. So they were chosen to represent this country, but we didn't really treat the living bird very well. And throughout most of the history of this country, we have not treated the predators very well. And the bald eagle and other species of eagles, golden eagle, hawks and owls, all fell in those categories. So the numbers were really declined. But the final straw, so to speak, on the eagles' problems came right around the World War II, the mid-1900s, with the development of some of the modern pesticides, DDT being the primarily one. Other pollutions that affected them were PCBs, mercury poisoning, the chemicals that got into the environment and really concentrated in the food chain and caused major problems, not just with eagles, but with much of our wildlife. DDT was finally banned in 1973. It's Earth Day time, just a lot of environmental awareness. For those that have been around a while, that was when a book was written that really sparked the environmental movement called Silent Spring, written by a great biologist named Rachel Carson. And basically Silent Spring said if we didn't wake up and realize what we were doing with DDT and some of the other chemicals and pollution, that we were going to wake up and not have any bird singing. The spring was going to be silent because of all the impacts of DDT and some of the other chemicals that were being used in such vast amounts. Now, were those chemicals necessary? Probably at the time. I mean, they, DDT helped eliminate malaria. So it wasn't like it was all bad. It did a tremendous amount to control insects, one of the most effective pesticides ever developed. Just had a lot of really nasty side effects. And that's one of the things you have to look at on chemicals. Not only them, but even today. You know, we've got to constantly evaluate and research and learn from what we're using, and are the rewards worth what we call the unintended consequences. You have intended consequences of using those things, and then you deal with unintended consequences, and that's what you always have to be evaluating and watching, is to see how it's affecting other things. According to the records, in 1954, there were 15 active eagle nests just at Realfoot Lake. No telling how many more up and down the Mississippi River and the other major rivers. By 1961, they were gone. There were no known successful eagle nests after 1961 in the state. In the early 80s, a lot of agencies got together, Tennessee Wildlife, Fish and Wildlife Service, TOS, the birdwatching group, parks, Audubon Society, just all kinds of organizations got together to try to help bring the eagles back as a nesting species. Throughout the 80s, they released about 150 eagles in the state during the 1980s, and that's when the eagle population started to respond. If you had to choose in this part of the country, Tennessee, where to go see bald eagles, it's Realfoot and Kentucky Lake, to see them consistently every day in the wintertime.
We came with a church group today, and all of us came together to get some fresh air, to look at some wildlife, hopefully see some eagles, and decided that Realfoot Lake was a good place to come do that.
So we have migratory birds in the winter. We have nesting birds that never leave. The eagles that nest in Tennessee are here all year.
You can see one of our eagle nests on the levee. This one's about 10 feet deep, about 7 feet wide. It's got a female on it right now. She's incubating eggs. She'll be there for another couple of weeks before they hatch. They incubate about 35 days or so, and then they'll raise the young for about 3 months before they make their first flight and just hang out here for about a year.
We offer a place that you can see them with your eyes, and there's no comparison between what you see on TV and actually standing there and watching it as it happens. And people leave, I think, understanding a lot better why they were chosen as their national symbol and what that living symbol actually stands for and what it means. Now, what we can do as people is, we can make wise decisions. We can recycle. We can make sure we don't pollute, don't litter. You don't dump chemicals on the ground, whether it's paint or used oil or gasoline. It's making wise decisions. But we can do a lot of small things. Small things, when you have everybody doing small things, it adds up. And just things simple as recycling and conserving energy, and not destroying, don't let a forest fire get out. Just a lot of little things can really make a huge difference when enough people do them. What we want to provide is a deeper awareness, an awareness of why it's important, both historically with the earthquakes and the Native American history and what's gone on here for the past 200 years, as well as a natural awareness. What's here, why the eagles come here, why they're important, why should we protect a place like Realfoot?
The Latamer High Adventure Reservation is owned and operated by the Middle Tennessee chapter of the Boy Scouts of America. This reserve has dedicated itself to green restoration and living. They provide youth with a wide range of high-energy outdoor activities. Latimer also helps provide today's youth with the guidance, support, and confidence they need to make the right decision in life as adults. At Latimer, the Boy Scouts are demonstrating their outdoor code for being conservation-minded by undertaking a grand recycling plan to reclaim an abandoned 80-year-old bridge. WCTE's Steve Hobbs brings us more.
For 1,550 beautiful acres here on the Cumberland Plateau. Our purpose behind Latamer High Adventure Reservation is to provide young people, not only scouts, but church and school groups and corporate groups as well, the opportunity to get in the great outdoors and enjoy climbing and rappelling and mountain biking and canoeing, kayaking and caving and just anything that you would do in the great outdoors, and especially enjoying the beauty that we have surrounding us. A part of our construction of our facilities here, we're doing things that are very much eco-friendly. Two of our large structures are geothermal heating and cooled, as well as what we've done to a old coal mine area that we are taking and actually treating the acid water from the mine. The big thing is what we've done to take a roughly 81-year-old bridge from a junkyard to being fully useful today. The bridge itself is sort of unique in that as we were in the design stages of the dam and trying to figure out how we were going to access the North Country once we were cutting off the roadway with the lake, we had to figure out a way in which to do it. Originally the idea was to do a drive over spillway, but that seemed to be a little cost prohibitive at the time. And curiosity started killing the cat as a way in which we would come up with a method to access the North Country. And in talking to some folks, started talking about what is the chances that there is an old bridge somewhere that is no longer in service that maybe the Boy Scouts could acquire and bring to the site. Now, fortunate for us that we had someone who was around quite often on our property, our contractor, Kelly Angel, who knew of a place where possibly there was an old bridge that had been taken out of operation, and that was, to come to find out, was sitting in a junkyard in Pikeville, Tennessee. Behind me you see the bridge that goes across the spillway to Lake Joe Long. Lake Joe Long is a man-made lake here at Latamer High Adventure Reservation. It's 21 acres. We started construction of the lake and dam in June of 2010 and completed it in March of 2011. We've pretty much tried to take it back to its original 1931 look. The only thing that we did change was adding handrails just for safety concerns, as we'll use this bridge for both vehicular as well as pedestrian traffic. The bridge itself is 53 feet long, 14 feet wide, and as I mentioned earlier, the fact that we added the handrails for safety purposes. And then for a little ambiance, we put the stone columns on the end using native stone of Crab Orchard stone to the area, and added the lights so that at night you've got a little visual of the fact that there is a bridge that's here across the dam. The history behind the bridge is that it was first constructed in 1931 by the Nashville Bridge Company and was put into operation on a county road in Bledsoe County and operated as a thoroughfare there from 1931 to 1991, in which a new bridge was put into place to replace this steel bridge. Pretty much his final resting at that time was going to be in a junkyard and end up as scrap metal. Fortunate though for the Boy Scouts and for all those who'd visit Latimer High Adventure Reservation, the guy in the junkyard decided not to do it for whatever reason. And so when we were talking about putting a bridge here, and someone said there is a possibility that there's still a bridge in this old junkyard. It took us a couple of trips to find it and a little time to get the guy to decide to sell it to the Boy Scouts, and which he did. And we were able to take then and move the bridge from Pikeville to Latimer, which is about a 15-mile trip up the mountain on the back of a flatbed truck, and brought it here in October of 2010. And through the winter months and spring of 2011, took and renovated the bridge. I guess as a real labor of love, we, in taking this bridge, through a sandblasting process of taking it back to the raw metal, and then from the raw metal to a primer, and then to the final paint. And then once that process was complete, used a crane service to bring it and set it into place. And then we placed the runners on the bridge. That the wood that you have for the flooring of the bridge actually came from trees that were here at Latimer that had been damaged during the tornado of June 2010. We took to a local sawmill, sawed them up, brought them back so that we could reuse them. You have two layers. Basically, you have the floor itself, and then you have the runner section that the vehicles would travel across. But for the Boy Scouts and for all the people who come to Latimer, and the fact of us teaching, to be eco-friendly, here's the place where it has ended up. There's a lot of love and labor that went into this bridge. Hopefully this bridge will be in place for at least another 80 years here at Latimer High Adventure Reservation.
We hope you'll join us next time when we go to Allenbrook Farm and see how a love story led them back to their family farm. Then we go to River Ridge, where a family tradition of sustainable farming lives on. Also learn more about a solar farm and how it will provide alternative energy and educate Tennesseans. All this on Live Green Tennessee, where we'll bring you more news about farmers and businesses who are making the move to eating fresh and making living green possible for us all. If you'd like more information about Live Green Tennessee, please visit our website at livegreentv.org, where you'll find everything from healthy recipes to past episodes and much more.
This program is brought to you in part by...
Behind every Pick Tennessee Products logo is a Tennessee farmer who brings you fresh, local food grown with the kind of pride that gets handed down through generations. From now through fall, you can find Tennessee fruits and vegetables on farms and at farmers markets near you. Find your Tennessee farmers at picktnproducts.org.
Hi, I'm Kelly Swallows, the race director for WCTE TV's Live Green Tennessee 5K race. It will begin and end right here in Cookeville, Tennessee at Dogwood Park. The race is on Saturday, June 23rd, starting at 7:30 a.m. Whether you're a competitive jogger, walker, or want to bring the whole family and your strollers, come one, come all. We invite you to join us to support the Live Green initiative and supporting local agriculture. We'll see you there.
Funding for this program was provided in part by the United States Department of Agriculture and by the generous support of the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.